Hello everybody and welcome back to Crochet Through Corona. I'm here with another lesson for you, and this week we're going to learn a new stitch. So here's a few things that we're going to be making using this stitch. This is a glasses case. I will demonstrate with my own glasses. Voila, she says as she voila. Glasses safely stored in there. Sunglasses season is coming right up, and I would demonstrate the phone case, but my phone is currently what I'm videoing off, but similar concept, just drop it in there. Other things that we might move on to making with this stitch are coasters and even a little tin cover, and this is where I keep all my spare stashes of yarn. Oh, got one line around there. And it stops Josh getting too cross at me about little threads being all over the living room, which to be fair is highly irritating. So this stitch this week is called the half double crochet. So you can see it a bit clearer in here, but these are the swatches that I've been working on. I'm going to show you some skills from. So the key difference between a half double crochet and a single crochet, and I might just lift this a bit closer to the camera so you can see, is the height of the stitch. So as you learn any new stitches, so we're going to carry on working through stitches over the coming weeks, the basic stitches, and the basic stitches basically just increase in height. So the single crochet, if you can see here to here, is actually 2 rows of stitches, whereas that there is one single row of stitches. So the benefit of using something like a half double crochet, or even some of the taller stitches that we might go on to do, double crochet and treble crochet, is that you just get that extra bit of height. So for the amount of time that you're working, you cover more ground. So if you're wanting to whip something up quickly, you might want to, like a quick blanket, you probably choose to use a longer stitch. So the treble crochet is one of the taller stitches. But the downside with increasing in size of stitch is the gaps increase in between. So I haven't actually got any treble crochet on me, I don't think. Oops, sorry, I'm getting too keen here. But you can sort of see it with these swatches. The increase it results in a bit more gapping in between stitches. So the increase in height makes it more gappy, which is nice if you're going to try and make something airy or lightweight, certain blankets or clothing. But if you're looking for something dense, like I didn't want this any more gappy, otherwise I'd be able to see through it more, then a half double crochet or even a single crochet might be called for. Like your washcloth, you might just want a single crochet. So that's the key differences between the stitches. So as you move on from a slip stitch, which some of you might have seen in some of the project videos, is the smallest of stitches, and then we have the single crochet, which we learnt in our last lessons, and then we're now moving on to our half double crochet, and then it moves on from there to double crochet and treble crochet, each one increasing in height as we go. So I am going to teach you the stitch from part way through a swatch, and then we'll go back and do it from the chain, because I think it's easier to work in underneath pre-existing stitches rather than this foundation chain. But there is some crucial changes to the foundation chain, so we will come back to that in a minute, don't you worry. Now the reason I've got 2 swatches here is because this is actually 2 ways of doing it. This is my preferred way, and I think it looks a bit neater and less gappy, but if you're learning to crochet, most lessons will teach you this method. So I will show you both and you can decide which one you want to go with. So I've just come to the end of a row. I've chained on I've got 13 stitches on each row, and I need to stop looking through the camera and actually look at my work. And now I'm ready to turn. So I'm going to turn my work, and then I'm going to chain 2 this time. 1, 2. So when we were doing a single crochet, we were only turning 1 as the chaining 1 as the turning chain. Now we are chaining 2, and that is because this chain is actually going to count as the first stitch. So it's increased because the height of the stitch has increased. So the half double crochet is a taller stitch, so that's why we've chained 2. Now to do the stitch, we're going to yarn over before we insert the hook into the work. So that's the key difference between single crochet and half double crochet. Single crochet, we just go in and then yarn over, but with a half double crochet, we yarn over and then insert our hook. And using this method with the chain as our first stitch, it means that we then skip this first stitch here, because we are counting the chain as the stitch for that stitch. Does that make sense? So we're going to go into the second stitch along the row, and we'll yarn over and pull through, and then we yarn over again like we did with the single crochet, and we pull through all 3 loops on the hook this time. So I will do that again. We yarn over before we put the hook in, then we put the hook underneath both parts of the V, if you remember from the single crochet. So it's under both parts of the V. I'll see if I can separate that, show you. There you go. And then we yarn over and pull through. So now we have 1, 2, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again and pull through. And I will do that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Now, you may find it easier to pull through all 3 loops at the same time, or like me, you might find it easier to go first 2 and then the third one. Either way, as long as you don't do an extra yarn over in between, it's all fine. And I'm just going to continue to the end of the row. So I'm yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook, yarn over before we start the stitch, insert your hook, yarn over again and pull through, yarn over before we start the stitch, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And we're going to continue that all the way to the end. And it is worth counting as you go, because it is harder to find the last stitch you doing the half double crochet, especially using this turning chain method. So I'm just going to double check how many I'm supposed to have here. So the first chain was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have found all 13 stitches. That's handy. You'll notice it's a bit easier to count stitches with the half double crochet, because that bit taller, you can separate them out easier. So rather than just having to count the top of the row, it's actually easier to count along as well. So at the end of the row, we turn the work, we chain 2 because it's a half double crochet, and we yarn over, and then we don't go into the first chain, the first stitch, we go into the second stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. And then you would continue this to the end. I'm going to stop this video here, and then I'm going to show you an alternative method in the next video and how to start from your turning chain. See you in a minute.